We have a couple new members to this board, I believe. Maybe Bill and Christie, were you on?
That was at the last meeting.
You were. I want to be sure everybody know everybody. So the purpose of tonight's meeting is to consider Line's application, and as I've done before, although I don't believe that I have a conflict, which means that I believe I can be fair. Greg has asked me, has indicated that he has concerns about my impartiality. So, and what I'm gonna do is I've asked Charlotte if she would manage the meeting, and she's agreed to do that. And so as soon as we move to Craig's application, she's going questions about it, or would somebody like to make a motion for approval?
I move that we approve the minutes of July 8th, 2024.
Is there a second?
Second.
Then moved and seconded that we approve the minutes of July 8th. Is there any discussion?
Father.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Good. So now we're at Craig's application, and so I will turn this over to Charlotte.
Thank you. Thank you. Tegan, do you want to put on the agenda, the thing you sent us about changes in municipal public body rules? Or you just want us, because you did say that you hoped that every committee would take some time to discuss it.
We certainly can. I hadn't put it on the agenda for tonight. I don't know if everyone had time to look at it or even knows that they got it yet. I want to save it for next time.
That seems like a good idea, yes.
So just so you all know, I put together a one-page sheet for public bodies in the town, it's basics of keeping minutes and agendas and timelines. Things we all kind of know, but maybe don't entirely know perfectly, and so it's all there with all the statutory, all the statutes listed, and we'll take a look at it and maybe discuss it.
And I noticed that we're recording, which it does ask us to do as well. That was news to me. All right. So let's on to Craig Line's request, and I think we should make some room for him so he can join us and speak to
May I
Yeah.
just suggest, I propose some comment that Greg made at the previous meeting. Could we introduce ourselves for the record?
I was gonna wait until he joined us, but
To manage it, there's some space
Or each other.
here's a chair. Oh, yes, here. Yeah, James, come on over here. She's going to give a chair.
Do you want to come?
Yeah, I don't want to crowd into you, I'm leery of COVID.
Do you feel comfortable where you are?
I do,
Okay.
and I can stand up. And I can
Okay.
speak loudly.
Okay. What-
I know a lot of people,
Okay,
Yeah.
including Janet, who have had it very recently, and yeah. So anyway.
we introduced ourselves at the last meeting. Would you like that repeated?
I think I know who everyone is.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. Since it's your request, we're happy to hear whatever you have to say and to show us.
Okay, I thank you for the time. Again, I'll repeat myself somewhat because there are a couple new members. But first applied back in February. And so I appreciate the time to do this again. One thing that I did read in the very long document from the Secretary of State was, I can apply as many times as I want, but, I don't want to. It's all very difficult. And I really wish I wasn't here, but I just have come to a place of, thinking that this is my only option. So, the previous, hearing, Mike was the chair pro tem, and he called me after the hearing and asked for the financial information. And then told me, it'd be nice to have it, but you don't have to give it to us. You know, so that's how I proceeded. I was sugaring, I was busy virtually every single day for 6 weeks. And other hearings, subsequent hearings were scheduled. I just was not able to attend. So I missed 2 hearings. A decision was issued which said it was denied. And the reason given was because I had not provided the financial information. And I just do not understand that, because I have been told you don't have to. Now, I just last week was, sent the new form, and of course I was attending the meetings online. I was aware you all were discussing it and passed it, but I honestly did not think it would apply to me because I had already applied on July 14th. So it seemed like an extra hurdle to jump. I understand the point of the form. I did fill it out. I talked with Tegan this morning and then again this afternoon to check in. And she asked if I would bring it down so she could make copies for you all. And I'll tell you that I am very hesitant to circulate it. I know who all of you are, but I don't know you. I have been on boards before that have operated by Robert's Rules of Order and open meeting law. And I have been in executive session and I understand what that means. I think many of you do too, but this is very personal financial information that I would not share with anybody. And so for those reasons, I'm very hesitant. I'm happy to talk about some of my finances in broad strokes. You can ask me some questions. But I really don't want to pass them around.
All right, so let me repeat what Tegan's email said to you and what we were talking about at the last meeting, which is we are not going to absolutely require this financial form. However, if you are applying based on financial need, you have to prove, we have to see some indication of financial need, not just, I was really busy and I've been sick. So we do need financial information in order to make a financial decision. Is that clear?
It's clear, yes.
And you may say it orally to us here. Several people have done that before.
Okay. There was some confusion. I actually checked 2 different boxes on the application. Applying for financial need, hardship, however it's worded, and also one down below that said something about illness. It didn't say anything about this is for veterans, widows, etc. But it turns out that's what it is. Tegan got that information and sent it to me, sent me the whole statute in fact this morning. So that was more what I was basing my application on, as I detailed in the long narrative about my health issues over the last 4 or 5 years. 6 actually, which is when I got Lyme disease. You know, those various illnesses have prevented me from earning as much income as I used to. I used to do other work on my tractor, bush hogging, et cetera. I used to do carpentry work. I was just not able to do that work beyond sugar. So. I mean, these were, for me, they were unique circumstances. The state of Vermont sent me numerous tax bills, not for a huge amount, $1,200, I think. And I wrote them the narrative about my health, and they granted me hardship status. And I presented a copy of that letter to the board in February. I have one copy with me now. But it seems to me that if they could grant me the hardship status and not send my account to collection, et cetera, without requiring any detailed financial information, I don't understand why this board cannot also do that. Now, you might have ideas about that, what is proper, legal, et cetera. But I am basing my application on the hardship through which I have lived.
Barbara,
So I don't want to interrupt Craig, but I do want to say something when you're open up to discussion. So I just want to get in the queue.
so have you finished what you are prepared to say?
I think so. I have been trying to figure out some other options. And I have ideas for some of that, but they're not immediate. I will say I have $31,800 in credit card debt right now. It's just a horrible astronomical amount. And while I've been able to make more than the minimum payments, not a lot more, and the interest is eating me alive. Occasionally when I've had a good month of syrup sales or some other things, then I've been able to pay those down a little bit, but you know, my income, as I filled out the financial form, I look at it and I'm horrified because my expenses are about $1,000 a month more than my income right now. My income basically right now is syrup sales and Social Security.
Okay, that's helpful. Would you be willing to have us open up for, are you ready to have us open up for
Sure.
questions?
Sure.
Okay, Barbara?
Thank you. Thank you for mentioning that you checked 2 boxes, because that was one of the questions I wanted to ask up front. My understanding from previous BOA meetings over a number of years is that the applicant must choose just one of these criteria. I cannot state the statute in law, so maybe somebody here can quickly look that up to see if that's correct. But I've been in other BOA meetings, I'm sure Christina remembers this, and probably the listeners do, where the BOA required the applicant to pick which one because it could only be one. So maybe if somebody could look that up very quickly. Thank you.
Yes,
That's true. It would be helpful to note that on the application so people know.
yeah. Are there other questions? If we're opening up for questions.
I do have a question. I understand that you're facing difficult circumstances now, but I wish you could share with us any plan you might have to prevent the need for an abatement left in the future.
This gets back to what I mentioned about trying to figure out plan B. I have a second vehicle that I want to sell and I need to do some work on it. It is my planned, and I had hoped to sell it last fall, but the work didn't happen because I wasn't into it. I will say that the biggest part of what got me in trouble with all this is, I filled out the homestead declaration and current use information incorrectly. And so I did not, I couldn't take advantage of the lower tax rate. So I was taxed at the full amount last year.
Hmm.
I have straightened that out. I've gotten some information from the tax department about this year's current use values, et cetera. So I have filed my homestead declaration. I did have to file things back from Ohio in my truck in June. Most of them are not even unpacked yet, so that's another thought of where I could come up with some more money to pay some of this off. I have at times gotten cash advances on the cards because I didn't know what else to do to cover expenses. So it's been building up. Yeah.
So in terms of your current income and expenses, it's clear that your expenses are more. But do you have other non-income things, perhaps savings or other things besides a second vehicle and antiques that might help?
Cash on hand is, what we said. $1,900.
And, okay,
There's a value of my two vehicles. The value of the property, the cash on hand. Honestly, I've been, probably wrongly thinking about retirement in terms of selling my property. And moving to someplace smaller. I've considered that more and more in the last couple of years. And selling, once I decide to fully retire, selling the sugaring equipment, my tractor, the various farm implements I have, to raise some money. But I'm not at a point where I want or can do that. Because if I do that, then I can't make sure, so.
Yeah. Are there other questions?
Greg, what's the amount remaining on your mortgage?
Don't have a mortgage, I paid it off.
Do you have any other property besides the property in
No.
Kent's Corner?
No,
Okay, so you're,
No.
you feel like you can cover, with the homestead declaration and your current use changes, are you saying that you think you can cover your property taxes next year?
yes. I have every year prior to last year,
Okay,
and it's when all of it rolled into one big snowball that I got feelings.
okay, that's very helpful. Thank you, Barbara.
I just want to clarify when you say, ask, can he cover his taxes next year? the next year's tax bills are actually being mailed next
Right.
month. So I just want to make sure that you're not thinking next calendar
I
year.
assume she meant this year.
Okay, all right, good. I just wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page there. Thank you.
I want to say, I really appreciate the decorum and the politeness and raising hands. When I was at the last select board meeting, and some of you select board members are here, I was really frustrated because a couple people just would jump in and I was waiting patiently. Anyway, thank you.
Sure. Are there no more questions? All right, the next item on the agenda is for us to go into a deliberative session to discuss a request and the additional information that you have given us. And I will say that we absolutely do appreciate this information, that it is very, very helpful. And it helps us. We had really no idea the first time around.
Yes, I understand.
So,
And I was, not afforded the chance to attend two of the hearings that were scheduled when I was boiling syrup. And I told Barbara and I told Tegan, I very much appreciate the collaboration in finding this date. Barbara got back to me, well, how about the 22nd? Would that work? I said, yes, it would. Thanks for asking. I mean, that just seems very basic to me. So,
all right,
anyway,
do we need to have a motion to go into deliberative session? Yeah,
Before we do that, I just want to double check. Has anybody found the statute about whether or not he has to tell us which of these two he's applying under? Because our decision is based on that criteria.
let me just say that Tegan pointed out to me that the second one I checked does not apply to me.
Just for
It's for veterans,
oh,
and I don't qualify for it, but it didn't say veterans on the form.
I
So
see.
that's why I was confused.
Okay, all right, thank you for that clarification. Okay, so you're going with the third box, taxes of person unable to pay.
Yes,
Okay, all right, thank you.
yeah, thanks though for making that clear.
Good.
I just want to say in terms of future income, I've sold this year so far, about $2,100 worth of syrup since April. I've got approximately $9,500 to $10,000 in inventory still that's unsold. So, you know, I need to do a kind of a marketing campaign, and I used to do that more. To email a group of people and say, hey, I've got syrup, come buy it. So,
Christie?
Just a question on
Yeah.
that, when you say 10,000 in inventory, what does that translate to for like your income?
that's actually, in this case, it's all profit because I already have the jugs. I have 10 years worth of labels. And so, yes, it's some syrup that is already canned up. Quart pints, half gallons, etc. Quart mason jars and pints, and then I have some 10-gallon stainless steel drums. And so then I recan it through the year as needed.
Christina?
I have one question, which I guess is directed first to you, Craig. Is a sum of 4,063 or 0310 cents?
Yeah, I can read my writing.
Yeah.
4,063.10.
And can you clarify for me what that takes into account? Does that include the tax fee plus penalties or?
And penalties and interest, there were small amounts. The penalties and interest were put on hold while my case was proceeding through the first time. But that is, as of the notice I got in, well, I have it with me in July, I was gonna say, but it's, you know, if there's a difference of a few dollars, Certainly, I can be able to.
I do think I double checked that one before I put it on there, but let me see what I have.
1,063 too.
Yep, still the same. In the interest of disclosure, Craig did give me his financial disclosure form in case we did decide to pass it out. I'm gonna pass it back to him since he decided not to share it with you. I wanted to make sure you.
Thank you, Steve. I'm looking for the most recent statement I got from Sandra.
Kari's got it right here.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's the right one.
okay.
Okay,
Thank
thank you.
I want to say to thank Tegan and Barbara and Kari. Kari, you're hiding around the post. I certainly never forget about you. You know, I pester him many times in a week,
Mostly about beavers.
mostly about beavers. And I have more to say to you about that. I have more information anyway, so thank you. Yeah, staff is.
For the question, yes, Mike?
I have one question, Craig. I heard a person in town who keeps selling off land to pay her bills, or the bills. Is there any way you could sell off an acre or two?
I cannot, it's conserved through the Vermont Land Trust.
That's the answer, okay.
And that happened when I bought the land with my former wife. The town had tried to buy the property that's now mine. And it did not get approved. We voted on it. Voters here in Calais. It didn't pass. And so the Historical Society, put it on the market. And there was a group of people, including Reed Charrington and several others, who pressed the Historical Society to have it conserved when and if it sold. And we bought it, and then the conservation happened. So 51 acres.
All or nothing.
All conserved, that's right. No other house can be built ever on the land. I mean, all the stipulations that go with conservation. But thank you. Good question.
Other questions?
Well, maybe one more. Fred, you mentioned 10-gallon cans. Is there a market for those? Are there brokers that would buy 10-gallon cans?
I would lose a lot of money doing that.
That-
I could probably sell them. Yeah, Goodrich's buys syrup.
Yeah.
Morse Farm buys syrup. There are lots of places that don't make enough to meet their demand.
Yeah.
But then you're getting a price per pound that is way
Significantly
below
lower.
what the
Yeah.
retail value, even selling as much as I do to the Maple Corner store, Jamie knows it. I just took $230 worth there on Friday. And that's, the store's getting it at a wholesale price. But that's, still less than the retail price. Of course, I prefer to sell it out my door or to deliver it to people in Montpelier, and I do that. But I can't always be home, and, Jim O'Riordan used to call me now and then and say, hey, I don't see any quarts or half gallons at the store. Are you home? Can I come get some? And he asked me once, should I just come get it from you always? And I said, well, I make a little more money on it, but I want the store to be making money on something, so I'll try to keep the stock there. And he was someone who just always had my service. He would come do plumbing work for me and say, I think that's about a gallon's worth. And that's how I paid him.
Yeah.
So
Well,
lots of ways to move through.
what would Goodrich's pay for a 10-gallon can? You think
Well, 10 gallons,
48?
it's 11 pounds to the gallon
Uh-huh.
times maybe 250 a pound.
Mhm.
I'm not doing the math in my head.
Yeah.
If you want to, Christie's doing it on her pad.
220.
And how many of those do you have?
I have 6 of those right now.
Good, thank you very much.
Yeah. You know syrup. I mean,
Yeah, but just in my backyard.
Right.
Yes,
So can I get a little clarification on the current use?
Mhm.
Were the forms that weren't filled out correctly, applicable only to this 1 year or the 840
Yeah.
payment?
Yes,
So before that year, they were okay, and
They were
after
okay.
that year, they were okay?
you reduced my taxes by like several $1,000s
Yes, yeah,
and
so the tax,
I screwed up when I filled stuff out.
so the tax bill that you received is based on an incorrect.
It was my mistake.
Okay,
And so then the state did not pay that
okay.
share.
That-
And so then I got the full bill.
okay.
And by then I figured it out. It was totally,
yeah. We've been there and they are very particular.
they
If
are.
you misinterpret something that they say in one sentence.
Well, and there was the year that they came out with this new form that you had to send back in November. You know, I get all this mail and at times, honestly, when I have not been feeling well, the mail piles up. And it was my mistake.
All right, are we ready to move into deliberative session? I see some nods. Yes,
So moved.
thank you very much. And is there a second? Second. All in favor? All those opposed? All right, we will move into deliberative session. That is, private.